best way to get their attention.
Do you think there are a lot of people searching for my business?
There's only one way to find out. Go to mylocalcustomers.com. It's quick, easy, and free.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
South Jersey's play-by-play home for the Eagles,
touchdown,
Sixers, and Flyers.
Oh, big save by Carter Hart.
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
Oh, what a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
Eagles win. Phillies lose. Josh Hennig here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. That's where we start the show today. We'll review in the aftermath of the Eagles win over the Patriots. Plus, I'll let you guys know what happened with today's Phillies game. A little bit more information on that. Plus, Monday Night Football is back in action tonight. Aaron Rodgers and the Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills. All that and more to get here. 97.3 ESPN. Also, you can join the conversation at 609-403-0973. That is the text board, your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. So, I think that there's a bunch of things to get to about the Eagles game yesterday. And I'll touch on the Phillies at some point before the end of the hour. Okay, I will get to them. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, he will join us coming up in roughly less than 20 minutes, or now about 17 minutes. So we'll talk with him about the Eagles and the NFL. Sorry, I got a little distracted. Apparently, this is just coming down that the 11-day stalemate between Disney and Charter TV networks is over finally. So if you're someone who does not have Xfinity and has another cable platform out there, apparently you're going to be able to see Monday Night Football tonight. So read into that what you will. So apparently I thought the story was a fake story at first, but apparently it's a real story. I'm seeing real reputable people reporting it now. So you never know with these things. But anyway, back to the Eagles. One of my biggest takeaways from the game yesterday is I don't think people genuinely appreciate or accept or realize what they actually saw yesterday. What they saw yesterday was a lot of what we talked about right here on 97.3 ESPN on Friday's show. I told you guys that I was concerned that you gave Bill Belichick an entire offseason to prepare and get ready for a game. And what happened? Bill Belichick was more ready than the Eagles were. But because the Eagles were the better team, they came out with the win. At the end of the day, the Eagles roster was the better team. And I think that is the biggest takeaway from the game that I think is not being talked about enough. Look, people can complain all they want, and we'll get into some of those details about the frustrations and complaints. But I'm just looking at this team right now, right? And I see an Eagles team that basically looked a little sluggish. They were not in rhythm. They did not have all their ducks in a row. And now they're coming out and they look like a team that was going against somebody with an elite game plan against them. That's what I saw. I did not see an Eagles team that's a bad team. And by the way, I'm not like Evan Cohen, who was on the ESPN radio morning show saying, I think the Patriots are the best team in the NFL. That's such a hogwash too. You know, if you are someone like Evan Cohen, who wants to go out of your way and say something like that, you're just looking for attention or you're looking for a hot take. Because if you're saying that, then that means that You genuinely think that the Patriots are better than the 49ers and the Cowboys defenses and the Jets defense? Probably the same people who also try to tell me that the Dolphins defense is going to be so good that the Chargers weren't going to be able to score yesterday. Yet the Chargers, Dolphins hit the over on the number, okay? Told you guys on Friday that was going to hit the over here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. But back to the Eagles. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. I thought that there were two big takeaways I have in the game. Number one, it's very grossly obvious that one of the side effects of not playing in the preseason is the fact that there's a chance that you come out not 100% full throttle ready to go. And we knew this already. It takes teams usually a few weeks to really find their rhythm, find their staying power. Figure out how good they can be. They won't reach their potential for a while. And I think as we saw for the Eagles offense, look, the reason why Dallas Goedert got no catches and DeAndre Swift basically had 3 touches yesterday is because the Eagles offense is still finding their rhythm. They're still trying to find the best way to execute. I thought the big positive takeaway from the game yesterday, aside from the win, and aside from Jake Elliott going out there and basically being the best Eagles kicker since a guy named David Akers, was the fact that the Eagles defense actually did a very good job overall. And even though Belichick and the Patriots out-schemed them, I thought the Eagles players played at such a high level. I mean, Darius Slay, the interception, the deflected passes, the way he played in coverage yesterday was elite. And realistically, the Eagles' coverage defense was not bad yesterday, but the scheme was. I think this is where Sean Desai is going to have to make adjustments. The Patriots did an amazing job at taking advantage of the Eagles' poor coverage. I must have said it about 5 to 10 times out loud yesterday when I was watching the game the first time. And I was not convinced otherwise the second time I watched the game. When I was out watching the game yesterday, I kept saying out loud, and people heard me, and I don't know if people actually were comprehending what I was saying. Maybe or maybe not. I don't know. But I kept saying out loud, that was bad coverage, wrong coverage, poor coverage. Every time the Eagles ran any variation of zone coverage yesterday, the Patriots and Belichick took advantage of it. And I thought that Bill O'Brien actually called a very good game. But because the Patriots receivers are mediocre at best, and because the Patriots offensive line is mediocre at best, you have a situation where the Eagles, frankly, got kind of lucky at times. That game could have been way different than it was if a few plays would have gone differently. And to me, I think it's very obvious that if you're going against a Vikings team this week, you can't just go out there and run zone and hope for the best. You got to stop letting guys get into the soft parts of the zone. You got to have a tighter formation. You got to do something that doesn't allow guys like Hunter Henry and Keyshawn Boutte get open spots in the zone. And that's nothing against NFL players, but these are not elite NFL players. Hunter Henry is an above average good NFL tight end. He's not Travis Kelce. He's not TJ Hawkinson. He's not Mark Andrews. He's not even Dallas Goedert. He's a whole nother level below those guys. And he had a game. And by the way, every Patriots touchdown was almost the exact same play execution. Guy goes in the route, finds at the back end of the red zone. No one is covering it properly. They run there. Mac Jones zips it to him. They make a high point catch, touchdown. Not once, not twice, 3 different times I saw this happen. So if there's a complaint to be made about the defense, it is scheme. I don't think the Eagles' safeties stink. I don't think their linebackers are that bad. I think that it was obvious to me that when they ran more of a traditional cover 1, cover 2 zone that allowed you to have more man coverage instead of zone coverage, they were effective. The downs that they went out there and had heavy zone coverage and didn't have the proper overlaps, they got picked apart. And I told you guys on Friday, there were some of you out there, and I'm not going to condemn you too hard because I understand that some of you listen to other shows, listen to other people, and you formulate your opinions off those people. But I told you guys those people were wrong about Mac Jones. Mac Jones actually had a very good game yesterday. And as Tony Romo said on the broadcast, Mac Jones is making the throws. He's making high-level NFL throws, but either his receivers couldn't catch the ball or guys like Darius Slay and Avonte Maddox were making great plays. Now, of course, moving forward, James Bradbury is in concussion protocol. It's unlikely he's going to play Thursday night unless he gets out of the concussion protocol before Wednesday. But that turnaround is very hard to do on a short week. Nakobe Dean, he'll be out for the next few weeks with a foot injury. Does not need to require surgery. So we are hoping for the best with Nakobe Dean. Hopefully the Eagles can not get too ridiculous. Because remember, moving forward, don't forget, Thursday is the Vikings game, which you hear here on 97.3 ESPN. Then next Monday night is the Buccaneers. So if your hope is that you can get to the month of October without Nakobe Dean, you theoretically need him by Sunday, October 8th when you play the Rams, because you're not going to have him for the Vikings game. You're not going to have him for the Buccaneers game. And you can probably get away with him not for the Commanders game, a Commanders team that looked like they struggled to put away the Arizona Cardinals of all teams at points in time yesterday afternoon. All right, let's get to the text board, 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Steven Bettner, City Chimes. This is Josh. What do you make of DeAndre Swift and his lack of touches? Also, what do you think about defensive substitutions and game plan? I think you were trying to say substitutions. It says substations, Steve. But I think you meant substitutions. Let's hit DeAndre Swift first. I think DeAndre Swift was a byproduct of a bad game plan. I think Brian Johnson had a much rougher day as a coordinator than Sean Desai did. I think that there was obviously a feeling that Swift, they felt like had the hot hand for a bit. And then they kept trying to go back to him to rekindle some of that, the hot streak. And I think that combined with basically, I thought Brian Johnson did a poor job at helping Hurts be in a position to be successful at times. I felt like, for example, on that high over-the-head pass that he threw on the sidelines on third down, where you had Goddard and Devontae Smith on the same side, it felt like that was a predetermined route, that no matter what, they were going to go left on that play. And I don't know if that was predetermined by Hurts or by the offensive coordinator, but it was predetermined by somebody. And it was plays like that that made me wonder, where was DeAndre Swift? DeAndre Swift could have been in the flat on the right-hand side. Hurts could have started the play looking right and then spun around, flung it left, and gotten a first down out of it, because the whole defense was shifting across to the left because Swift and Goddard both went left, and then A.J. Brown was cutting across from right to left. So I think that was the problem with him not getting touched. I think it was not good execution of the game plan, not a good game plan at times, and too much predetermined passing. And again, it's hard to know how much of that is Hurts, how much that is Brian Johnson in some of those scenarios. Now, in terms of the defensive game plan in general, as I said earlier, Steve, I think that there was too much zone at times, and the Patriots picked you apart. I thought that the blitz finally started getting to Mac Jones in the second half, but in the first half, I felt like they were trying to they were trying to get a little bit too fancy at times. That second quarter, when the Patriots offense really got cooking, it felt like that zone defense was getting ripped apart, and Sean decided to have an answer. Sometimes if you watch a boxing match, you see someone get punched in the face, and it takes them a round or two to figure out where they still are. Like, they're not concussed, but they're a little shook, right? And I think that there were times in the second quarter of that game, second quarter specifically, but also a little bit in the third quarter, times that game where the Eagles defense look a little dazed. Got punched a little too hard by that right hook. All right, more of your texts coming up. Thanks to Stephen Bentner for chiming in at 609-403-0973. That's the text board. I'm Josh Hennig, hanging out with you on a Monday night. Coming up next, Associated Press lead NFL writer Rob Maaddi joins me next to recap the NFL weekend here on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
You haven't downloaded the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app? Well, go get it now to follow all the Philly sports teams at 97.3ESPN.com, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Hey, Birds fans, it's about that time. Football season is back, and Boardwalk Honda is giving you the chance to score big. Stop in and take advantage of game-changing savings all month long. Shop our lineup of new pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have something for everyone, and credit problems are no problem with over 25 financial lenders to get you approved and on the road to victory. Visit us in Egg Harbor Township or online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Thinning hair is normal, but it doesn't have to be your fate.
Once I started taking Nutrafol, I could visibly see my hair get thicker.
It made my hair stronger.
Nutrafol, the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand.
Nutrafol has taken me back to the hair I was meant to have.
You've got nothing to lose and everything to grow. Join the 1 million people growing at Nutrafol.com. That's Nutrafol.com.
When you switch to natural gas, you'll enjoy reliable and efficient comfort, plentiful hot water, precise cooking temperatures, faster clothes drying, and more savings. Plus, you can count on the South Jersey Gas account managers to walk you through the process, answer your questions, and put your mind at ease. Switch now to enjoy safe, reliable, affordable natural gas and smile big at the savings. Learn more at southjerseygas.com/lovemyhome or call us today at 218-217-0864.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, taillights, trunk lids, license plate holders, 122 million parts. Pull up just a little bit. And headlights. They've got lots of headlights. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Your palace awaits. Caesars Palace Online Casino is now live. Download today and register using code RADIOLAUNCH. New users get a $10 sign-up bonus, a 100% deposit match up to $1,000, and 2,500 reward credits after wagering $25. Must be 21 and physically present in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, or West Virginia. Minimum wagering within 7 days required to unlock bonuses. Full terms and wagering requirements at CaesarsPalaceOnline.com/promos. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In West Virginia, all games regulated by the West Virginia Lottery. Please play responsibly.
With Labor Day savings at the Home Depot, we have laundry appliances that just fit. They'll fit your space, fit your needs, and with extra large capacity, Samsung laundry pairs can fit more loads in less time. Plus, with free delivery on orders of $396 and up, you won't have to worry about fitting your new laundry pair in the back of your car. Final days to get up to $700 off select appliances like Samsung, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Pricing valid 8/24 through 9/13, U.S. only. See store or online for details.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Now for a limited time, it's buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday. Buy one, get one free and enjoy the sweet, delicate flavor of snowy white crab meat. Pair it with one of our handcrafted cocktails like the Stoli Vanilla Creamsicle or the Bourbon Peach Sweet Tea. Top it off with Chicky and Pete's world famous crab fries. Buy one, get one free snow crab legs every Tuesday and Wednesday for a limited time. Restrictions apply only at Chickies and Pete's. Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we are prouder than ever to partner with the Philadelphia Eagles. Chicky and Pete's has been named the official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, and we continue to serve as the official caterer of both Eagles training camp and the official caterer of the First Trust Bank Club at Lincoln Financial Field. Go where the players go. The official sports bar of the Philadelphia Eagles, Chickies and Pete's.
The kids are back to school, and Exergen is back to the basics in thermometry, where accuracy matters. The Exergen temporal thermometer is fast, non-invasive, and clinically accurate. Exergen is backed by over 100 clinical studies and is trusted and used by medical professionals. Take care of your family this back-to-school season. Choose Exergen, available at Walmart and Walgreens. Learn more about why accuracy matters at Exergen.com. That's Exergen.com.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released. Matt Blatt Nissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Game Night here with 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you. And the Game Course Our show is always being brought to you by Jenkins and Sons. One call does it all. 609-641-6440. From new heating and air installation, service and maintenance, ductless air conditioning systems, water heaters, boilers, drain cleaning services. Just call Jenkins Plumbing and Heating today. Find out how you can save with a new system from American Standard in Heating and Air Conditioning or a Mitsubishi ductless system. Take advantage of financing of up to $15,000 from South Jersey Gas or Atlantic City Electric. Save more with rebates from these local utility companies. A new system can save you on your utility bills. So call Jenkins at 609-641-6440 and online at jenkinsandsons.com. We will be joined by Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press momentarily here on 97.3 ESPN. Just doing some realigning with him to get him on the line. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, of course, covers the NFL for Associated Press. Also the host of Faith on the Field, heard Saturdays and Sundays right here on 97.3 ESPN. A couple things we were talking about with Rob, aside from the Eagles' 25-20 win yesterday, we do want to ask Rob as well about a couple things around the NFL. And one of those things being about, I want to get Rob's take on some of the interesting outcomes that happened yesterday. You know, you had watching the way teams like, for example, the Steelers being crushed by the 49ers, or, the Bengals utterly struggling against the Browns, or, like I said before the break, and I said it a little tongue in cheek, but I didn't mean it. There are people out there who are trying to say that Vic Fangio is going to change the entire game, and it's one of those things where you have these people who go into NFL week 1 with these hyper predictions, and we find out they were wrong. We have to, figure out why we were wrong. So let's get into it now with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press, at Rob Maaddi on Twitter, where you give him a follow. Rob, appreciate you jumping in. That was all my fault, by the way. That was a total glitch on my part while you weren't connected yet. How are you doing today?
No worries, man. I'm doing well. Just trying to rally after this opening week of the NFL season. It was quite a few games and quite a contrast in some of those games. Some teams couldn't score. Some teams looked unstoppable.
Right. It's funny you said that, because that's part of where I want to start with you, Rob, is, you and I talked about on Friday's show about Belichick and the Eagles. And it looked like Belichick, he literally had an excellent plan for the Eagles. And frankly, if the Patriots had better wide receivers, and if it wasn't for Darius Slay, the Patriots probably win that game.
Yeah, the Eagles got lucky. I thought they really got lucky in that game because there was too many early on. The Patriots made too many mistakes, and obviously that hurt them. The pass that was intercepted by Big Play Slay, returned for a touchdown, and then Zeke's fumble, which is uncharacteristic of Zeke, that he didn't fumble all of last year with the Cowboys and gave the Eagles a short field there. Eagles weren't crisp on offense at all. I know Nick Sirianni said afterwards that he would reevaluate whether or not his starters play. I think a lot of teams, you look around the league, a lot of teams were not crisp. Miami and Tua aside early, and of course Jordan Love and the Packers look good, but a lot of teams were not that sharp, and I wonder how much of that has to do with shortened preseason. They're not practicing as much. They're not practicing as hard, Josh, and it's different. And a lot of times September is the first couple of games of the season. Teams are still trying to find their way, to figure out their identity, and they treat it a little bit as an extension of August, and it bleeds into the start of the season. So the Eagles were extremely fortunate that, like you said, the Patriots, if they had better wide receivers, if they didn't shoot themselves in the foot, I hate that cliche, but it happened, and hurt themselves the way they did, the Eagles would have walked out of there with a loss. But ultimately, they got the W and they got the cover, Josh.
Yeah, yes, they did. Yes, they did, which was important for a lot of. It was funny you said that because I was literally that was the only thing about the Eagles game betting wise I got right. Everything else, it was like, I thought Devontae Smith would have a much bigger game. He didn't, I thought there would be way more sacks by the Eagles in that game. Was wrong about that. But speaking of that, I did think it was interesting that the Patriots took advantage of the Eagles zone a lot in that game, Rob. When I rewatched the game late last night, I kept seeing Hunter Henry and Boutte and all those different guys. They're basically finding these soft spots in the zone. And I know the Eagles got Bradbury in concussion protocol right now. Nakobe Dean expected to miss a few weeks. But I have to think, I don't think it matters if you keep letting teams take advantage of a soft zone like that.
Yeah, and a big test for him is going to be Thursday night against Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings, coming off a very disappointing loss for that team. And they got some weapons that they can certainly utilize in that passing game, and they can go across the middle on the Eagles and take advantage and see how that. So the Eagles got to shore that up somehow and quickly, Josh. And that's why I haven't looked that closely at this game yet. Still looking at Sunday's games. But as I just think about out loud the Vikings game coming up on Thursday night. I know Minnesota came into Philly last year. I believe it was a Monday night football game. That might have even been the home opener last year. I can't. But either way, the Eagles rolled on them. This one could be a whole lot closer, unless the Eagles can figure some things out. And it's a short week. They got some guys in injured who it's going to be difficult to bounce back and be ready to go by Thursday, especially a guy like James Bradbury in concussion protocol. I don't know how you could turn that around by Thursday at this point and be out there. Nakobe Dean's going to be out. So this is going to be a really tough early season test for that defense.
Yeah, I've heard former players like Clay Harbor and Ryan Clark already say this morning that they don't know how a guy in concussion protocol on a Monday is going to be ready for a Thursday night game. So, I mean, and that's not just you and I saying, that's actually guys who had to go through the protocol in the league. So they understand even better than we're verbalizing. Rob, speaking of that, because you mentioned the Vikings, and I was not looking too far ahead, but the Vikings yesterday, they didn't look good, and it's so hard for me to judge someone hyper aggressively off of week one, because we know almost nobody plays in August, but there's a part of me that's looking at the game yesterday, and I just kept thinking it wasn't the Vikings defense that failed them, Rob. It was the offense. It was the one thing that they had last year. And for all the questions about who are the Vikings going forward, you got two teams that offensively, the Eagles and the Vikings, did not look good in week one. And now they're both having to turn it around on a short week.
Yeah, and I thought they didn't protect Kirk Cousins well. That they had some issues, and they had a couple guys get nicked on that offensive line too. So we talk about the Eagles having to turn it around quickly and get some of their guys on defense ready. Vikings got to do the same with some of their guys on the offensive line. If you get in Kirk Cousins fit, and his numbers, like you look at his stat line, 33 of 44, 67% for 344 yards. And I'm not just reciting this because I played against him in fantasy football. He had 2 touchdowns. He had 1 pick, but you look at those numbers, but if you watch, and I watched most of that game as I was scanning 19 other different games at the same time, he just never looked comfortable. He never found the rhythm. There was 3 turnovers in the first half that came back and certainly hurt that team. And I think that this is going to be one of those where whichever team can get, obviously the Eagles got home field advantage. They're running out of their tunnel. The Vikings got to travel. It's a short week and all that stuff. But whichever team can get an early lead, an early momentum build, and they can go from there. The Vikings, to me, I think are a dangerous team in that to me, they're more dangerous that they lost to the Buccaneers than they would be had they defeated the Bucs and had they defeated them soundly. It's too early, Josh, to say in a 17-game season it's a desperate team, but you don't want to start 0-2. The numbers are all out there. They prove it. I think, you definitely don't even want to start 1-0. If you want to win a Super Bowl, 46 out of the 57 Super Bowl winners won week 1. Only 10 teams lost in week 1 and went on to win a Super Bowl, and one team tied. That number is 46, 10, and 1. So you don't, sir, I don't have the numbers in front of me. You don't want to go 0-2. I'm not going to call the Vikings desperate, but I think they're a team that really needs to win this game a little bit more so than the Eagles at this point, who got that cushion after beating New England. Kirk Cousins, to me, is a guy you got to just be careful, because as you talked earlier about that zone and the softness, he'll pick that apart. And Justin Jefferson is a nightmare. If James Bradbury's down, Jordan Addison had a nice touchdown catch yesterday. If James Bradbury's down, that could be a problem.
Yeah, Jordan Addison looked real good across from Jefferson in that game yesterday. That was one of the positives for the Vikings on Sunday's games. Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press joining us here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM and a 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See, Rob, sticking with the Vikings-Bucks game, how about Baker Mayfield? How about Baker finding a little, I'm not saying he's lighting the world on fire, but you guys are talking about this before. That Bucks team was so injured last year that you have to wonder if you can get some variation of what you saw yesterday from Baker Mayfield. The Bucks got to be in the conversation for the NFC South, considering, the Saints didn't look that good yesterday. And I'm sorry, but when I saw Desmond Ridder cross the line of scrimmage and throw that pass to get flagged, I'm like, really? It's week 1 and you're doing that? You know what I mean? Like this is the NFC South we're talking about here. And Baker Mayfield may be the best quarterback in that division.
I think the Buccaneers are going to stay in contention just because it's a weak division, but they're certainly being underrated because they lost Tom Brady, and a lot of people aren't giving them much credit for anything. They got a strong defense, and that defense gave Kirk Cousins some fits yesterday. Baker Mayfield, if he can play that effectively, efficient football, he started slow. I think he was 3 for 11, ended up turning that around in the second half, had to find his rhythm. He's got some weapons. He's got some playmakers. Mike Evans, who caught a touchdown pass yesterday. Chris Godwin, who made an incredible catch on a 3rd and 2 to extend the drive and run out the clock. This, to me, is a team that can be a sleeper in the NFC South. I think it's a 2-team race. I had the Saints winning the division. I think they'll end up. If I had to put my trust or my faith in one of the quarterbacks, I would go Derek Carr over Baker Mayfield. And he had a pretty good day yesterday, Derek Carr. But what impressed me the most, Josh, about Baker Mayfield, there was a 3rd down, I think around the 3-minute mark in the game. It was about a 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. He ran for the first down. And not only did he run for the first down, like he took a hit, he put his shoulder down, put his head down, and it probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, but he went for it, and he showed his toughness there. And I think teams rally around that. I saw early in the game there was a point where I forget who it was on the other sideline was jawing with him or saying something to him. Mike Evans steps right in. We know Mike Evans is going to have his quarterback's back. He got suspended a game for doing that against the Saints with Tom Brady, but he stepped right in there. So I think guys are rallying around him, and I agree with you. I think they got an actual shot. Neither team to me is going to be a 10-game winner. I think it's a 9-8 wins that division, maybe even 8-9 again. Yeah,
Mike Evans, he's scared of nobody. He's got a little bit of that Andre Johnson. Remember Andre Johnson versus Cortland Finnegan years ago? That's Mike Evans in a nutshell. He's the modern version of that. I could totally see him one day doing that to some quarterback who doesn't shut up, especially today's today's guys who talk a little bit too much sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Rob, which lopsided 1:00 game was more shocking to you? Was it the Browns-Bengals or the 49ers-Steelers game?
Well, considering I had the Steelers as my upset special, that was pretty surprising. But then as I took a step back and you just evaluate that, the 49ers are such a good football team. They're solid. They're a Final Four team in the NFC. That's a team that I think, like, the only concern I had was, when will Brock Purdy be ready? And he was ready exactly 6 months to the day he had elbow surgery, and he didn't miss a beat. He stepped right in there, and he was solid. The defense was solid. Christian McCaffrey looked like he found another gear on that 65-yard run. This is a team that the Eagles are going to have to worry about in the Final Four. I think it's still them, Dallas, and Philly. The other game to me also was a surprise. I had Cincinnati, even though Burrow never has any success in Cleveland. I thought this might be finally it, but then you look at that and you go, he missed most of training camp with that strained calf. He didn't get much opportunity to play at all with his team, so there was going to be some chemistry issues there, some communication problems there, and the weather was miserable out there. The weather was not, just like it was for the Eagles-Patriots game, just like it was for the Giants and the Cowboys game. The weather was not conducive to him throwing. I just didn't think the Bengals are going to go out there with Joe Burrow, no matter what, and put up a 3-spot. Got to give the Browns defense credit. Jim Schwartz comes in there as a defensive coordinator. They got a little bit more of an edge to him. Myles Garrett was all over the place, and they really handed it to Joe Burrow. So they gave him a tough time there, and I think they'll bounce back. I think the Steelers will bounce back, but I was most impressed by the 49ers for sure.
I mean, Myles Garrett and that Jim Schwartz defense might get 20 sacks this year if he keeps this up. Couple more for Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press before we let him go. Rob, looking around, because when the Eagles game was going on, there was another game going on that was very interesting to me. I kept the other eye on. Dolphins Chargers was an absolute shootout, and for all the people who kept saying, "Oh man, Vic Fangio, he's going to come in here and this Dolphins defense, this and that," Justin Herbert and Kellen Moore had themselves a day. And if it wasn't for Tua and Tyreek Hill, the Chargers would have won that game. But, it's going to get forgotten to the history books because Tyreek Hill had an historic day yesterday. But Justin Herbert and Kellen Moore look like they got something good going on over there with the Chargers.
Yeah, they do. And Tua had an incredible day. Credit to Tua coming back from those concussions, the way he finished off that season. Man, he threw a pretty ball. Josh, I don't know if you saw the highlights. I was watching a lot of that game live, and I'm just looking at some of, I always love how the ball comes out of a left-handed passer's hand anyway, going back to Steve Young and Jim Zorn way back before even your time. But he threw a touchdown to Tyreek Hill, the go-ahead touchdown. It was just a pinpoint, perfect pass over the shoulder. He had another one earlier. I believe he was stepping up into the pocket and just kind of threw off balance, and he heaved it like 40, 50 yards downfield. That was incredible, and that was impressive. Justin Herbert also, you expect Justin Herbert and the Chargers offense to be buzzing, to be on the move. They ran the ball effectively. At the end, what hurt them was they couldn't protect for him. I think it was back-to-back sacks late in the game on the final drive, and that's how the Dolphins sealed that victory. But that was one where you expected a shootout, and you actually got a shootout. That was two teams that certainly looked. I got to go back and look at how much playing time any of those guys had in the preseason, because now you can make the other argument. Kenny Pickett led the Steelers on 5 drives in the preseason, 5 touchdowns. So if there was anybody ready to go, it was Pittsburgh, and they looked terrible. But I think the Chargers and the Dolphins certainly stepped up, and they're going to be those two high-powered, high-flying offenses. I'm still waiting for defensive guru Brandon Staley to actually do anything defensively with his team. I'm still waiting. Like, he was hired as a defensive-minded coach, and he hasn't done a darn thing defensively with his team.
And if I remember correctly, the Rams won a Super Bowl without Brandon Staley, right? I mean, he wasn't their DC when they won the championship.
Exactly. They win without him, and his defense is always sucked in with the Chargers. So I'm not buying into it.
By the way, speaking of left-handed quarterbacks, I loved watching Mark Brunell down in Jacksonville. He was one of my favorite guys to throw on the run. Like, he looked so fluid doing, like, it was almost more natural for Brunell to throw on the run than in the pocket. It was such a strange thing with him.
And we can't forget Michael Vick.
Yeah. Well, he's kind of like the obvious one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the powerful flicker. Like, Michael had flick of the wrist 70 yards downfield. Just incredible for a guy who's not big. Like, I mean, he's a smaller dude.
Michael Vick is the perfect example of if Andy Reid would have got a hold of him coming out of the draft and not like years into his career, Michael Vick might have been a Hall of Famer, honestly. So
I agree. Yeah, totally.
I got to ask you, Rob, before I let you go, how much of Sunday Night Football was the Cowboys defense and how much of it was the Giants just not being on that level to compete?
I don't want to come on every week, Josh, and bash Daniel Jones, Brian Dable, and the Giants, but this gives me another opportunity to bash Daniel Jones, Brian Dable, and the Giants when they like come up there and just laid a flat A. It was terrible. It was an awful performance. I never thought that Daniel Jones was a $40 million quarterback. Dallas's defense is dominant. They're not that dominant. Right. They're a great defense, but you got to do something. You got to move the ball effectively. You got some weapons. You got Darren Waller. You got Saquon Barkley. You got that kid. I know he dropped the pass, Jalen Hyatt, but you've got some weapons on that team. I never believed in the Giants. I'm not a believer in that team. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I did not expect a 40-0 game, but that to me shows you a little bit of who the Giants are going to be. I'm not going to put the Cowboys, even though I got them in the Super Bowl, but I'm not going to put them in the game based off of that one effort last night against the Giants. I think their offense was average. Dak Prescott still had some things he's got to work on. They ran the football pretty decently, but they left some plays out there. They didn't dominate on offense. It was just a total like butt whooping, special teams, defense, and everything else. So the Giants, to me, I think that's an indication of where they're headed. They might be a sub 500 team.
It's amazing because that's the team that made the postseason last year. Even got a win against the Vikings.
Yeah.
And then this year, there's a chance they might have make the postseason, and they got to reevaluate some things for sure. He's Rob Maaddi at Rob Maaddi on Twitter is where you give him a follow on the X platform. Of course, check out the podcast, the AP Pro Football Podcast. And of course, Faith on the Field heard every Saturday and Sunday morning right here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, great stuff today. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate you, buddy.
Josh Hennig hanging out with you here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. We'll check back here on the text board coming on next, 609-403-0973 as we wrap up the Power Hour known as Game Night on 97.3 ESPN next.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. It's the home opener as the Eagles host the Minnesota Vikings on Thursday Night Football at the Link.
And the gun again is cut. Big chase. They've got him!
Eagles Radio Network coverage begins at 7 p.m. Merrill and Mike call all the action starting at 8:15. This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. 97.3 ESPN. South Jersey's Eagle Station.
Oh, yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released. Matt Blatt Nissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal. Get a $50 gift card good for use at Sunday Gravy in Linwood for just $25. Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com. When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The kids' berrylicious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
Looking for a new career? Want to learn more about area businesses and shopping local? Then visit the free Cumberland County Business Expo and Job Fair Thursday, September 21st. More than 100 area businesses and organizations will be on hand to discuss their products, services, and special offers. Some will tell you about job positions they're filling. Stop by and you'll be entered into a free drawing for great prizes. The grand prize is an electric bike, and there are lots of other wonderful door prizes to give away. These prizes are sponsored by South Jersey Water Conditioning Service and Atlantic City Electric. Enjoy food trucks, exhibitor giveaways, and much more. Free admission from 4 to 7 p.m. on Thursday, September 21st at the Cumberland County Technical Education Center, 3400 College Drive in Vineland. This event is hosted by the Bridgeton, Millville, and Vineland Chambers of Commerce, working together for a stronger Cumberland County economy. For more info about the event, go to cumberlandexpo.com. That's cumberlandexpo.com. Co-sponsors of this event are PSEG Nuclear and Town Square Media.
Staples has big savings on everything for school or the office. Save on school essentials like notebooks, pens, and crayons. In stock and backed by Staples Price Match Guarantee. Save on signs, banners, and posters from Staples Print and Marketing Services. And now save even more with $10 off document printing when you spend $40 or more. Get everything for the office and classroom for less at Staples. Ends 9/30. Exclusions and restrictions apply. See associate or visit staples.com/print for details. Price Match Guarantee and store only. Visit staples.com/price match for details.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every touchdown, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today and you'll get $365 in bonus bets when you bet just $1. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. And a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Hi, honey. Happy first day back at work. Can't wait to see you tonight. We are so proud of you.
Daddy, we love you.
There are many reasons to start recovery. If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, we are here to help. Call us. Our trained counselors are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to help. Your recovery is within reach. Call 844-REACH-NJ to learn about medication that can support your recovery. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
Meanwhile, at the New Jersey Lottery Scratch-Offs Division.
Team, let's load up the truck to deliver these new loaded scratch-offs.
All right.
Loaded with $2,000 and $5,000 top prizes. $10,000 top prizes are loaded.
$20,000 loaded and ready to roll.
Now that's a truckload of more top prizes and more chances to win.
Play the new loaded scratch-offs. Anything can happen in Jersey.
Easy on the turns, Jerry.
Must be 18 or older to buy a lottery ticket. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle and joint pain, For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Our locally owned and operated small businesses are the heartbeat of our community, and the 97.3 ESPN South Jersey Industry Aces stand out as leaders in their fields, like Tomorrow's Wellness Center in Northfield. Men, let Tomorrow's Wellness Center help you rise to the occasion. Visit tomorrowswellnesscenter.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN.
Little, I don't know if we call this news, but according to the Eagles, the Eagles had a walkthrough today, okay? And because there was no one actually practicing, the following was an estimation of who may not practice today. Reed Blankenship, James Bradbury, Fletcher Cox, Jacoby Dean, and Kenneth Gainwell. Now, we know two of those guys were not going to practice. Either was a practice today because Bradbury is in concussion protocol, and Dean is going to be missed at least a few weeks with a foot issue. His foot was in a boot when they left the stadium yesterday after the game. So I'm not overly worried about Gainwell, Blankenship, or Cox until I get more information. You know, a lot of guys don't always practice the first day or two of a practice week, considering it's a short week. This may just be a situation where the Eagles just being extra cautious. Guys might be a little banged up. Apparently, Blankenship and Gainwell are both dealing with some sore ribs as well as Fletcher Cox. So, but that is the latest news on the Eagles. They also signed Rashad Evans off the street to be basically some depth at linebacker. But it's going to be a difficult thing because the Eagles' practice squad is where most of their linebacker depth is right now. And I'm going to assume that they're going to have to make some moves before we get to Thursday. I'm going to assume they're going to, as you know, John McMullen and a couple others said this today, you're probably going to see Jacoby Dean put on the short-term injured list, which means he'll miss a minimum 4 weeks. So I'm going to assume they do that and they call like a Nicholas Morrow up to the main squad, right? And then they got to make a decision. You know, you can only put 2 more guys from the practice squad on the main on game day, and you already got Sipas on the practice squad. So who on the main roster would be a candidate to be potentially cut or put on injured list? Or do you say, look, for this week, Britton Covey's not going to be the kick and punt returner. It's going to be Zacchaeus. And instead, we're going to call up. I mean, what I would do, and I'm not there in practice, I'm not there in the building, but, you know, what I would do is I would call up Ben Van Sumeren for Thursday's game as one of my call-ups and be like, look, we need the depth. You go out, play special teams, get you some running in. You'll be ready to play if we absolutely positively need you kind of deal. So, I mean, that's at least what I would do if I were the Eagles, because I don't foresee a circumstance where, you know, someone like Rashad Evans is ready to go on Thursday Night Football against a team like the Vikings. I mean, I know the Vikings didn't look good yesterday, but it doesn't excuse the fact that they still are a team with a ton of talent. And when you have a ton of talent, you tend to be a team that's dangerous. And, you know, I'm not going to sit here and just act like because the Vikings had one bad day means that they're going to be easy to beat. You know, we heard Rob Maaddi say a team that's coming off being down 0-1 is potentially more dangerous than a 1-0 team because the 0-1 team is more hungry. They're more desperate. And on a short week, a lot of crazy things can happen. Now, of course, the good thing you have going for the Eagles is, as we'll talk about this throughout the week, the Vikings have a very good offensive line. And I think the Eagles' D-line is as good, if not better, than what the Bucs have to offer. That's at least how I look at it. Again, you know, the Eagles, when there were some flaws in the game plan, we'll talk about it throughout the week, but I think that there are still some major positives to take away from the game. Before I get out of here, I did want to acknowledge today is 9/11, and I love the fact that the Jets are playing tonight because their head coach, Robert Saleh, his brother is a September 11th survivor from the terrorist attacks. And Robert Saleh quit his day job to become a football coach because he was just like, my life could be over any day, he said. And he said, I want to coach football. And 20 years later, he's coaching on Monday Football on 9/11. Some very cool full circle there for the Jets tonight.
Rich Eisen here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. We get the new season of NFL Monday Night Games started with a marquee AFC East matchup when Aaron Rodgers leads the New York Jets against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and Kevin Harlan will call the action, and I'll handle the pregame and halftime. Join us on Monday Night Football.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN South Jersey.
Get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. The app is easy to use. You can bet on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in New Jersey. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
NFL Sunday Ticket offer ends 9/18/23. No refunds. Terms and embargoes apply. $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket, not YouTube TV. YouTube TV base plan required to watch YouTube TV. Redemption requires a Google account and current form of payment. Commercial use excluded. Subscription renews. Cancel anytime.